Hello, Scorpio, and welcome to your June new moon reading. This is a collective reading for all Sun, Moon, and Venus placements in Scorpio, as well as Scorpio rising. If you're not sure of your planetary placements or your ascendant, you can search the internet for a free natal chart and input your information, and they'll provide that for you. I've pre-shuffled the cards and cleaned the space, as well as the cards, and we're ready to begin your reading. This will be a 5-card spread. I will start with the tarot deck. At the end, I'll pull one oracle card from Wisdom of the Oracle. Let me put this here. Okay, let me do a quick shuffle cut here. What energies surround Scorpio for this new moon? Okay, our general energy here is the King of Pentacles, Earth energy. Your area of focus for this new moon for manifesting is Temperance, Sagittarius energy. And then we have the Two of Swords for spirit messages, air energy. What action should be taken? The Four of Swords, more air energy. And finally, your possible manifestation outcome, the Chariot. And this is represented by Cancer, the sign of Cancer. Okay, well, let's get started with the reading. I'll pull more cards for clarification and elaboration as necessary. Okay, so we start with the King of Pentacles. The energy surrounding this new moon looks like it's going to be related to your material resources. The king is master of material resources, and he manifests this mastery. And when I say he or she, none of these cards are gender specific. I'll just talk about the energy, and if I state a gender, it's just going to be a reaction to what I see on the card. But you can assign the gender as necessary. Okay, so the King of Pentacles, kings are masters of their element. They're the essence of their element, and the king uses that mastery of material resources, which could be your income, your bank account, investment, savings, property, people that support you, either materially or with their talents, and if they're an asset to you in managing your everyday life in some respect. But all of that is management of resources, and the king applies it to the management of his kingdom. So whereas the queen is more internal and related pretty much just to literally her castle, or the people that she loves and cares about the most, the king applies it in all relationships that affect his kingdom. So the energy that surrounds this new moon, now the new moon is taking place in Gemini, and that happens to be your 8th house of shared finances. So we can see why this card came up. So it could be budgeting with your partner, with your person, with your family. It's also related to inheritances, legacy, taxes, as well as mysteries. So this energy for the new moon is to set some intentions, to think about and reflect, and then set intentions with regard to the management of these shared resources. And the Sun and Mercury are both in your 8th house until next week and the week after. The new moon is going to happen on the 18th. Now, right now, we're only in the waning crescent phase of the new moon. And now I've also attached a chart down below, which will tell you for the different moon phases how to go through the manifestation cycle, so that you take advantage of the energy that you see in each one, or that you'll feel in each one of the phases of the moon. And there are 8 phases in the moon. But I've also included the dark moon phase, which is just a very brief time period right before the moon goes totally dark for the new moon. So right now we're in the waning crescent or balsamic moon phase, and that lasts about 6 days. And then on the 18th, we're going to feel and see the new moon, or rather not see it. It'll be totally dark. So right now, we're in a very quiet stage, resting and reflecting over this last cycle. We're releasing what didn't work for us, sort of review. It's a reflect and review time, R&R. Releasing what didn't work, but we're also in a receiving and preparing mode of thought. Now, Gemini uses their intellect and communication. You're going to be gathering information so that you can set your intentions for this new moon for the next cycle. So you are doing a lot of reflecting, and if you aren't, then this is a great time to start with that and journal. Our mind is great for thinking. It's not so great for storage. Memories get distorted, they go missing, they have gaps, the more we pull a memory up, the more each time we distort it a little bit more. So it's not a good record keeper. Your brain is not a good record keeper. It's a great perceiver. It's a great thinker. It just doesn't. It's more dynamic than it is a passive storage for your thoughts. So the way to honor these thoughts that you have, your reflection, your review, whatever realizations you come to, the way to honor that and to communicate it best to spirit is by writing it down and journaling. This is super important. If you're not much of a writer, then create a vision board. Cut out those pictures and glue them to it. Or if you don't have space for that, then create a little vision box where you cut things out and tear things out and put them in the box. Then take that out and review it. Look at you. If you already have one, look at that from the last cycle. It's a good way to review and see, check your manifestation cycle to see what went well and what didn't go so well. So this King of Pentacles is telling you that you have great energy for focusing on your material resources. And it feels like you've got some mastery with that. And now just because you have the mastery doesn't mean you're implementing and using your mastery. So let's look at what you need to focus on then. So here's the energy that you have available to you now during this waning crescent moon, when you need to relax and reflect, consider all the possibilities for this next cycle, gather and explore your thoughts and feelings about your past and your future. And what should you focus on? Temperance. Temperance is another word for moderation, and temperance is represented by Sagittarius. So I don't know if you have a planetary placement in Sagittarius, or if your sun is Scorpio and your moon is Sagittarius. But what you need to focus on is moderation. So whenever you are thinking about, writing about, journaling, charting, whatever, your possible intentions, do so with moderation. In other words, don't go crazy. Let's get some clarification on that. As a matter of fact, let's start with the King of Pentacles and get some clarification. Is there a particular focus or a particular event that has triggered or will trigger this part of the moon cycle? Six of Cups. Okay, Six of Cups is about nostalgia, comfort zones, maybe experienced in childhood or sometime in the past that are still influencing us. If this is about the way you manage resources, and a lot of us default to the way we saw our parents do that, and it could be that maybe that needs some changing. Maybe that needs some updating, changing. Temperance tells me it needs, okay, here's what's going on. If you have a partner, and this is specific for certain Scorpios, if you have a person, and since this new moon is taking place in your 8th house of shared finances, there needs to be a balance of input in the way that your resources are managed. One person's style or comfort zone or goals should not override the other. There needs to be a true compromise here. One of you one of you may be more impulsive, is more impulsive. One of you is more impulsive than the other, and you tend to either make large purchases or uh, large amounts in saving. You go to some kind of extreme. Now, it could just be you battling with yourself. I'm not sure, but there is something going on with that it's your management of resources is not in moderation. It swings from extreme to extreme. And that's because of the way resources were handled in your past. Now, if your background is more affluent than you currently are, you may just have a habit of choosing purchases or investments that are more extravagant than your current budget can handle. Whatever it is, you need to be very open now to messages from your own experience, from other people. But you do need to gather some information and really reflect on the way you manage resources. Get it down on paper. Respect those thoughts. Respect your plans. Communicate with the universe. Okay, the universe. Just because some thoughts are swirling around in your head about all the information you've collected doesn't mean that you are clear about it, that there's clarity and focus. That's what needs to be done here. Get it in writing. Chart it out. The universe, spirit, God can only respond when you give a specific message. Have you ever heard that phrase, be careful what you wish for you may surely get it? You can't just give a general wish and expect to have exactly the results you were hoping for. And you can't start on your path of manifestation if you haven't been very specific. Let's see, temperance about what? Temperance about what? Okay, temperance so that you can achieve your happily ever after. Now, also, I think it's also saying temperance in your vision of happily ever after. If your happily ever after right now compares too much to what you see, in the movies, on YouTube, friends, someone in the past, I really have a feeling it's something in the past. Some affluent environment that you were exposed to that's influencing your happily ever after. And when you don't think that you're making steps toward that, or don't see, when you have moments of panic, when you think this is not a reality. Do you see this rainbow here? In the Ten of Cups is usually represented by a rainbow with the cups. And here you see it. You have a rainbow above, and you have the reflection in the pool. The Ten of Cups is Mars in Pisces. It's telling you to take action toward this goal. And yes, it's a dream. Pisces is very dreamy. Very dreamy. But Mars is more concrete. It has that fire energy, that inspiration. That's going to come to you on the new moon on the 18th. But it has to do with this rainbow. And it can't just be above. It can't just be a dream. It needs to be above and below. As above, so below. And that's going to happen if you focus on moderation. Okay, so look, 2 cups cards right here. And what was this one? King of Pentacles. Okay, earth signs, very realistic, very practical, no nonsense. Let's look at the 2 of Swords, because this is spirit energy. Now, the 2 of Swords is air energy, and it means that you're unable to make a decision. Part of that is because you blinded yourself. The moon is representative of mysteries and secrets, the hidden, and actually, this is not a waning crescent, it's a waxing crescent. This is after the new moon, on its way to a quarter moon and full moon. But the 2 of Swords, one sword represents resentment, the other sword represents fear. And what's going on right now, Spirit's telling you not to resent the fact that your happily ever after may not be exactly what you dreamed of as you grew up, or from your experience in the past. Don't let that disappointment, don't let that resentment fester. Spirit's telling you that your happily ever after is attainable. It's achievable. If you work with these moon cycles and you manifest appropriately and go through the cycle of manifestation, you are going to have your version of happily ever after. It may be better than what you've imagined in the past in several respects. But right now, your negative feelings about where you stand in relation to that are keeping you from seeing clearly. They're keeping you from choosing a path that will truly lead you to where you want to be. Okay, that's the message from the spirits. Let's go to the Four of Swords here, which is the action that you need to take. Now, do you see this figure here? It's in a pose of thinking and reflection, in a pose of repose. And it represents rest and regeneration. Okay, so what you're going to need to do, Spirit's telling you to go from this state of being blinded to your reality, to reflect. In the original deck, 3 of these swords are pointing toward the upper chakras, upper energy centers, the higher consciousness, higher frequencies of our energy centers. And it's a knight who's returned from a mission, and they're in a restoration phase, restoring their energy, reconnecting with spirit. Now, this also perfectly reflects where we are in the new moon cycle right now. And that waning crescent, that's when you need to be quiet. You need to rest and reflect. You need to release what hasn't been working for you, or maybe you need to release a couple of these cups back here that worked for other people, worked for other situations, and just are not really what's going to work and bring you your happily ever after. So you've got to reflect on what you're going to release. Now, right before the new moon on the 18th, there's going to be a moment when there's a tiny little bitty sliver, barely a sliver of the moon. If it's cloudy, you won't even be able to see it. But if it's a really clear sky and there's not a lot of light contamination, and you can see this tiny little sliver right before the new moon on the 18th, you're going to have some very low, subdued energy, which is exactly what this card is about. And it's about completion and closure of the past cycle. And something about that cycle didn't really fit your situation, and it's put you in this state of frustration, this anxiety that why aren't things working the way they need to work? So it's put you in that state, and you, in order to get completion, you must let go of the last cycle, even the parts that were successful in the last cycle. You show gratitude, you give thanks for that. Some things that you need to do right now to move toward the new moon, a lot of self-care. And you need to write your affirmations. You need to script them, actually. And the way you script an affirmation for the best manifestation is Dr. Wayne Dyer, just a second, how did he say it? It's feel the feeling of the wish fulfilled. So you need to be writing your affirmations. You need to be brainstorming and writing this down on a piece of paper, a journal, a sticky note that you put up on your bathroom mirror and focus on, but something you need to write it down. That's for good record keeping. Otherwise, thoughts are just swirling around in your head and you're not able to really move forward. And especially with Gemini right now, with the Sun and Mercury in Gemini, my gosh, thoughts, it's like we have a hamster wheel going in our heads right now. So write things down. You will immediately feel that relief. And that relief will then help you lead to scripting that affirmation so that you are already thanking Spirit for having granted your wish and helped you to work toward that wish and achieve it. Which now brings us, well, no, first let me get a little bit more on this dark moon. how can this rest and reflection here help Scorpio see clarity? And in this dark time of the moon, how can it help them choose the best intentions and the best ways of manifesting those intentions? Because you're in a state of suspension here. And this is not a punishment. It's a reflection period. It means that you are taking new perspectives. If you really let go of your old thought patterns and this, you are just grasping onto this old vision of a beautiful future. Instead of, do you see how those hands look like they are working to mold something? You need to mold. You need to form your own vision of happily ever after with a vision board, a vision box, with sketch notes. Google sketch notes on your phone and look and see what those are. And if you don't draw, then write it out. But it needs to be on paper, because Spirit cannot respond until you are specific, and that makes you specific, and it gives you that feeling of relief. Okay, now I see what my priorities are and what I can move toward. So you're in that state of suspension because you're going to be given a new perspective. When that happens, Spirit's going to help you see the new perspective that becomes more and more illuminated between the new moon and 2 weeks later, the full moon. Do you see that full moon or orb around the hanged man's head? It's like enlightenment, insight, aha moment. And so by this rest and reflection, you can't really think well and productively unless you remove yourself from the busy everyday world. And that's what's going to lead to your enlightenment and help you write those affirmations. Okay. You need to also, if you put those on your bathroom mirror or somewhere in your planner where you see them as you turn to the next day, have a sticky note that you move from day to day. You need to say those affirmations, repeat them, and go ahead and start that feel the feeling of the wish fulfilled. You can call it a pre-gratitude journal if you want, but have some journal pages set aside for these affirmations that sound like being thankful because you're trusting the universe that they're working for you. So start saying thank you. If you don't trust, you get tense, and the universe will take that energy as a rejection, as if you're pushing away what they're trying to do for you. When they can work for you most productively, most effectively, is when you are in a state of relaxation and trust. These affirmations relax you. They remind you that nothing is going to happen right away, but if you trust, things will work with you, and you'll start noticing all kinds of synchronicities. Now, your final outcome here, your possible final outcome, this is great, it's the Chariot, represented by Cancer. You may have Cancer placements. You may have a Cancer in your life that is someone you can confide in and maybe receive guidance from during this cycle. But the Chariot is forward action. So what this is telling you is that by the time, and by the way, it may not be, you can't achieve some truly ambitious, incredible goal or fulfillment or intention within 2 weeks. But if you set your little mini steps along the way, mini goals, little objectives on your way to the final intention toward this happily ever after, if you have your little steps, this is saying that if you go through the reflection, if you do the writing down, if you do the visualizing, you are going to be able to move forward very effectively. Because in the next phase, after the new moon, during the new moon, you're on that day, the day after, you're going to really feel inspired and refreshed. You're going to be forward thinking. You will know your intentions. You will have honored them by writing them down. And you're going to be able to get ready so that when the crescent moon after the new moon, when it starts growing again, when it starts waxing, so you have that waxing crescent, you're going to be able to get your action plan going. You'll make a productive action plan. You will follow the action plan. You'll have the energy. You'll have the motivation to do it. So this Chariot is a really positive outcome here. wait on manifestation. Spirit's saying, what you've got to do for this manifestation is to let go of any heartache you feel. If you feel like you've lost, if you feel like something hasn't happened for you that you wanted to, you have got to turn away from that. Turn away from that and turn toward the positive. If this is your primary feeling, a constant state of being defeated, you bring that energy towards you. Yes, Eight of Swords. Okay, Scorpio, if you have been feeling like a victim, if something's happened here, something happened that created this energy right here, where you blinded yourself with negative emotions, it's because you're going through a period of self-victimization. You feel sort of helpless, and you don't even realize you're not in a prison. It's a prison that you imagine for yourself, like, oh, this always happens to me. I'm never going to get achieve what I wanted to achieve or find what I wanted to find. And this is self-entrapment. And that's where this depression, this heartache is coming from. Look at all of these swords. This is your way out. This is your way out. Because this focus, Spirit is definitely saying, get out of this. Focus on this. Focus it on it. Don't make it all fantasy. Make them achievable wishes. Mold your happily ever after to fit your life. Release any extreme feelings and extreme ideas. And I can see now that this temperance is not just about extreme mindset, but also extreme feelings that you have. Scorpio, you can be a little dramatic sometimes. Extreme emotions. You dive deep and you revel in your emotions. So whatever's going on here, start releasing it now. Start your journaling. Release it now. Let me get one more clarification card here. Yes, because the Two of Cups is coming. Two of Cups. This is true love. It's a manifestation of two sides, merging two aspects of yourself, merging two aspects of anything, making a beautiful choice. It's about choices and making decisions. So you've got two cards here that show choices. One here, you're blinded. The negative emotion attached to this thinking mindset you've got blinded you. Here, you're not making the good choice. Here, once you let it go, you are making the choice. Cups, cups, cups. Okay? Okay, well, let's pull an oracle card and see what we have for any last-minute messages from Spirit. And remember, I've attached a chart so that you can plan for the next stage of the lunar cycle, the lunation cycle, so that you can really take advantage and manifest, because Spirit will help you help yourself, okay? God helps those who help themselves. And they need to know you're taking your intentions seriously. When you set those intentions, they've got to know that you mean to stick with it, that you're not just going to sit back and watch them do everything for you. Okay, so what last messages does Spirit have for Scorpio? Our last message here is blessed or blessed. I can see that's number 22. Oh, my life path number 22. Okay, 22. Lucky number, lucky number. Where are we here? Okay, 22. Essential meanings. Something wonderful that is unearned and unexpected. Oh, some Uranus energy there. Grace that is an unforeseen gift from Spirit. So Scorpio, everything is not over for you. Everything is not over, okay? There are still blessings in the world, and you are blessed. You are blessed. And blessed are the Scorpios in this lunar cycle. Well, that's what I have for you today. I hope that it's helped you. I hope you'll be able to get on a good path toward manifestation in this lunar cycle that begins on the 18th. Prepare for it now and hit the ground running. Thank you so much for joining me. Give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you felt like this connected with your journey at this moment in life. And I look forward to reading for you again. Thank you.